So, picture this. A scholar, a man they called a servant of thought, named Faust. He's sitting on a massive pile of books, a mountain of knowledge. He's mastered everything, logic, medicine, law, you name it. But inside, he feels this crushing, profound emptiness. This is the story of Faust, a legend that has captivated the Western world for centuries. And believe me, its journey is just as fascinating as the man himself.
And that's really the core of it, right? The Faust legend is all about this fundamental human conflict, this restless spirit who wants meaning so badly he's willing to make a deal with the devil. But what's so incredible is how the story, what it means, and even Faust's final fate have completely transformed over time. Okay, so it all kicks off in 16th century Germany. The first version wasn't some deep philosophical drama. Oh no, it was more like a terrifying public service announcement, a scroll of judgment for a world that really wanted clear moral lines. See, in the original 1587 Faust book, evil wasn't some kind of metaphor for your inner demons. It was a literal, physical monster. We're talking a horned, winged creature looming right over your shoulder, just waiting to snatch your soul the second you step out of line.
The message here was crystal clear. This was a cautionary tale, plain and simple, meant for direct moral instruction. It didn't care why Faust felt empty, it only cared about the consequences. The bottom line was this: you break the rules, you will be damned. No appeals, no second chances. End of story.
But, a story this good doesn't stay simple for long. Just a few years later, the legend falls into the hands of the brilliant and pretty controversial playwright Christopher Marlowe, and suddenly the whole thing gets a whole lot more personal. Marlowe's Dr. Faustus is a true Renaissance man. He's a genius, a top scholar at Wittenberg, but his brilliance is only matched by his just insatiable ambition. He's mastered all the normal fields of study, and to him, they're just boring, totally unfulfilling. He's craving something more. He wants godlike power. And this, of course, leads to maybe the most famous deal in all of literature, the Faustian bargain. It's a formal contract signed in his own blood. Faustus gets 24 years with the demon Mephistopheles as his personal servant, able to do whatever he wants in exchange for his soul and, you guessed it, eternal damnation. 24 years. Now that might sound like a long time, but that ticking clock is what drives the whole tragedy. Yeah, he gets to travel the world, perform magic for emperors, and even conjure the spirit of Helen of Troy. But the whole time, that final midnight hour is just getting closer and closer. But the real drama in Marlowe's version, the real tragedy, isn't about the magic tricks. It's the war going on inside Faustus's own mind. He's constantly tormented, completely torn between repenting and just giving in to damnation. A good angel even pleads with him to turn back. But in the end, it's his immense pride, his inability to believe he can actually be forgiven, that seals his fate. The clock strikes 12, and the devils show up to collect. Now, you might think the story ends there, with damnation, but nope. 2 centuries later, the German poet Goethe picks up this legend and completely transforms it into an epic masterpiece. And in his version, the entire game changes. Goethe's Faust is also a scholar, and he's also drowning in books and knowledge. But his goal isn't just power. He wants to feel life itself, in all its messy, beautiful, and tragic glory. He wants real, visceral experience, not just dusty old scholarship. And this leads to a totally different kind of deal. This is not a 24-year contract. It's a lifelong wager. Mephistopheles can only claim Faust's soul if, and this is a big if, he can provide an experience so perfect, so utterly satisfying, that Faust literally begs for that one moment to last forever. It's basically a bet on the very nature of human restlessness. But here's the thing about this quest for experience. It has a devastating human cost. Faust, with Mephistopheles' help, seduces an innocent young woman, Gretchen, and his actions spiral out of control, leading to scandal, the death of her brother, and ultimately her imprisonment and condemnation for killing their child in a fit of madness. It's just a heartbreaking reminder that his striving causes immense pain to others. Faust's journey literally spans a lifetime. He dives into alchemy, travels to ancient Greece to meet Helen of Troy, and gets involved in politics and huge engineering projects. But he never finds that one perfect moment. Instead, as an old man, he has a vision of this great project, draining a swamp to create a free and productive land for people. And this is absolutely crucial. It's in the anticipation of this future achievement, not the achievement itself, that he finally says he could be content. So, what we have are three versions of the exact same legend, each with a wildly different ending. Let's just put them side by side for a second and see how this incredible evolution plays out. Okay, let's trace this one last time. We start with the Faust book, where evil is a real monster outside of you, and the outcome is definite damnation. That reflects the really rigid morality of the Reformation. Then we get to Marlowe, where evil becomes this internal battle with pride, a very Renaissance idea, but the result is still damnation. And finally, with Goethe's epic, Faust's school becomes lifelong striving, and evil itself gets transformed into a force that actually propels that striving, leading, amazingly, to redemption. And that right there is the radical shift. In Goethe's vision, it's not sin that ultimately defines Faust. It's his relentless, unending effort. His continuous pursuit of knowledge, of experience, and, in the end, of a way to benefit humanity. That's what saves him. God's grace steps in, recognizing that a soul that always strives can, and maybe even should, be redeemed. So, the legend's journey from a simple warning to this profound epic of redemption really reflects a huge shift in how we see ourselves. It moves from a world of fixed rules and certain punishment to one that values the journey itself. And it leaves us with a really powerful question. In our own ambitious, restless lives, is it the striving itself that holds the promise of grace?